Let's start with the zone over in the UK. Mick Conlan back in action, and unfortunately, the magic seems to have run out for Mick Conlan. I'm a big Mick Conlan fan. I want to see the kid do good, but I think that looks like it might be the end of the road. Third loss in fifth fight, second TKO loss in a row. He got beat up pretty badly. It's unfortunate, I think the kid had so much potential, and
I have a different look. When he fought his first fight on ESPN, second fight, whatever it was, some years ago, I was still calling the fights, and I remember saying I wasn't impressed. And
that's true. You've been consistent with that.
And listen, he won a title, whatever, for a couple minutes. He did better than most people do, and he made money. God bless him. And he was drawing pretty good over in Ireland, and so he's done what a lot of people don't do. He's won a title. He's been to the mountain, and that's great. I want all fighters to do that, even though they can't all do that. But I remember when I said that I wasn't that he had some road to plow, so to speak. He still had to get better in certain areas. He didn't love it. I remember after the fight, I was going back to my hotel. They were driving me back, and him and one of the top-ranked people asked if they could get a ride with us. So they jumped in. They rode back to the hotel with us. And I could see he had been told already that, whatever he said critically but constructively critical, so he could improve, that he just needed to get better in certain areas. Because, see, he was respectful. He's a gentleman, a good kid. But, you can see the top-ranked guy around them is probably telling him what he wants to hear. That's one of the ways they survive. Not by necessarily being their friend by telling them the truth, but by being their friend by insulating them from the truth and making them happy for the moment. And, but when you mature, you gotta learn those things a little bit. So the thing that I thought that he hadn't garnered yet was the ability to let go, to shed some of the amateur habits and get into some of the pro habits. What I meant by that was, first of all, either you're punch or you're not. Punches are born and not made. He couldn't punch, but he was a good boxer. But in the amateurs, you just drew punches. All they did was they taught you or emphasized to you, throw a lot of punches, 3 rounds, you win the fights for the most part. But in the pros, you got to learn. I had to teach this to Perfetkin. And he was a gold medalist from the Olympics when I started training him years ago, 14 years ago, whatever it was. And then we won the heavyweight title. But he just drew punches, and he was getting nailed. I had to teach him, no, you got to throw the right punches at the right time. And sometimes the best punch you throw is the one you don't throw. That you don't just throw them, because when you just throw them, you leave yourself open for something on the other end. You have to throw the punches at the right time, the right place. And he didn't learn that really. He just throws punches. He goes out, he throws, he's out hustling, he's doing good. But the problem is when you're just throwing and you're not paying attention to when not to throw, you can get timed. And that never left him. He never corrected that. So anyway, about a minute and a half into the fight, he was a big favorite. The only one there was my son-in-law, and I was like, oh man, I got to share this with someone, because Gill, the guy who was fighting, is a big underdog. So about a minute and a half in, I said, Conlan's going to get knocked out. So he said, really? Why? I said, I just see something. And those are the moments where, I got to be honest, where I miss commentating, where I could have those moments. Because if not for nothing else other than to maybe let the fans, hear something that you don't always hear too often. But also maybe everything is gambling now. So with the gambling now, when I say somebody could go make money, because I was actually thinking at that moment I said it, he was still a huge favorite. I could have told.
That's the beauty of Twitter. You can get your voice out there instantly to everybody.
Yeah, I didn't because I just didn't feel like I had time. But you're right. So about a minute and a half, because I marked it down, I said, he's gonna win by knockout. And the reason I said it was he was able to get in the pocket, remain calm, Gill that is, and punch while Conlan was punching. In other words, Conlan would throw too many, and Gill, same thing I saw in his first pro fight. It never got corrected. And maybe if he listened, maybe he would have corrected. I don't know. But I saw the same thing I saw early on that, again, was still the same, where Conlan would just throw, and if you're calm enough, you could throw with him, and you could nail him. And that's exactly what Gill did. He nailed him. I forget what punch it was. I think it was the right hand. Conlan was in the middle of throwing, bang, he nailed him. He didn't drop him or anything. That was to come in the second round. But when he caught him that clean, that was enough for me. I said, oh, wow, he's going to knock him out because he knows what I'm talking about. He knows that this guy's going to leave openings by just throwing too many punches and not really being selective to what punches he throws at what time. And sure enough, it didn't take long. Second round, he's dropped. He gets dropped with one of those time punches. So, anyway, at the end of the day, the quantity of punches that Conlan was throwing just didn't meet the quality that do more damage by a guy like Gill. And that really says it all. I just want to look at the notes. I want to get through this fast. At the end of the day, that's what it was. I for a second I thought the referee might have stopped it a tiny bit quick, but I don't think it mattered because Gill was getting to him in spots. When Gill wanted to get to him, he got to him. There were spots where Gill didn't do anything, and Conlan was doing what he does. He throws a lot of punches. He's a very game kid, and he was grabbing those rounds. But then as soon as Gill got in the pocket and timed him, he was landing, obviously, the more effective punches, and it was just a matter of time. He hurt him. The referee stopped it. He had him up against the ropes. But if he didn't stop it at that moment, he would have hurt him again, probably put him on the ground. And as you said, I think it's time for him to move on. He's a smart kid. He's a kid that, as I said, he's done what most people never get a chance to do or have the ability to do or the heart to do.